This movie called Loving Adults. What the fuck? So you got this lady Leonora married to this guy named Christian, and they actually have an 18-year-old son, disabled dude by the name of Jonah. And apparently one night, late at night, he's getting like these late text messages and tries to say it's from his job from this dude named Peter. She tries to check his phone, he won't let her, and he gets so mad he ends up throwing the phone against the wall and breaking it. Now while all this is going on, there's this cop that's narrating this story to his daughter. Now I'm gonna tell you the whole story, but there's parts in the story where he's narrating that he's not supposed to know about. So now back to the story. So Christian ends up going to work. He works at this like construction site or something. And there's one construction lady that works there by the name of Zena, who be smiling extra hard when she sees Christian. Turns out, Christian fucking with Zena, he having an affair. Apparently, he been smashing her for like 6 months. Now, Leonora's situation is like this. She used to be a teacher. She used to play the violin. But she gave up a lot of her dreams because her son got ill. Ended up being disabled because of that. Meanwhile, Christian was raking in all the dough, keeping his family secure, all that good shit. So she's at home and she gets these little tips from somewhere. She starts looking at Facebook, sees all these pictures with Zena. Then she sees a couple pictures with Zena and Christian working for the company and whatnot. So she's already thinking the worst right there, but she don't know nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? So then Christian gets home one day and him and his wife are supposed to be going to some type of banquet to celebrate some success at his job or whatever. So she tries to get him to do some things, but you know, he comes up with excuses. He's like, look, Jonah got to get picked up and stuff like that. And then we got to get ready for the banquet. So apparently they ain't had sex in a while. So you already know she thinking the worst right now. So Jonah ends up going to this girl named Martha's house. I guess that's a little fling, you know what I'm saying? And Christian and Leonora go to the banquet. Now it turns out Zena's like employee of the year because she did so much for the certain project that they was working on. And you can see the hate spewing off Leonora's face. So later on, people at the banquet, everybody's partying and whatnot. And Leonora ends up seeing Zena goes up these steps. So she follows up the steps far away from the party. So Leonora sneaks around the corner and she sees Zena getting ran through by Christian. Like, really at the fucking party while your wife is there? Like, are you serious? This nigga got balls. I'm like, you wildin'. So now she know legit, he cheating. So then the next day, the confrontation. She calls him out on it. Christian admits to it. And then tells her that he loves Zena. So she's like, the fuck? So she wants him to leave, but at the same time, they're trying to do things for Jonah. Then it takes a turn. The thing is, he supposedly can't leave. And they can't leave each other. And she threatens to call the police because Christian hasn't really gotten his money the legal way. He's done a lot of scams and things like that to get in a position to where they can have money to be able to live their lives. She's mad because she sacrificed everything knowing the situation that was going down, sacrificed her career and all this other stuff. But she said she would have did it anyway just because of the strength of her son. Bottom line is, woman scorned, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, she knows deep down inside she don't want to do that because she knows she's an accomplice to the shit that he was doing. So the thing is, she don't know what to do. She's basically at the point where she just wants to follow him everywhere he goes at this point. Christian really wants his wife Leonora to be happy or whatever like that. So he gets the idea of talking to one of her old school friends. He drove down to see this chick named Cassandra. Now Cassandra used to be Leonora's best friend, but they hadn't really talked to each other in years. So he's talking to her about trying to break it off with Leonora, and then that's when she tells her this random story. See, Leonora back in the day was messing with this dude named Mike. But Mike was cheating on her with this girl named Sonia. So allegedly the rumor was like this. Mike ended up dying. But rumors were going around was like the reason that he died was because he was smashing Sonia in the woods. And apparently Leonora saw him and ended up pushing him off a fucking cliff. Now none of that was proven. That was just the rumor. So then afterwards he ends up getting some information and ends up finding out Sonia's number and calls her. And she basically wanted to confirm that Leonora killed Mike even though she didn't see it personally. So technically it's still alleged or still a rumor. So afterwards he ends up going to Zena's house because she wanted them to meet her parents. Her parents are only going to be in town for like a weekend. And so he decided to show up. What he didn't know is that Leonora saw him too. She's been following him the entire time. So it gets to a point he gets back to the house. He's face to face with Leonora. Leonora's like, look, man, you got to cut this bitch off. I'm calling the police. So he dials the phone number. He's about to call, but at the last minute, he says he can't do it. And she ends up kicking him out the house. And she says she's basically going to take the house and her son. Now he's thinking about that in the back of his mind and not really knowing if she's going to call the police or not on top of that. So basically, he's about to lose everything. So we see him late at night. He's about to pick up this white van from his job, whatever like that. Then he comes into this little ravine and hides the vans in the bushes. So why is he doing this? Well, he knows Leonora's routine. At night, she likes to always go jogging in the same little direction, this little area, whatever. So he sees her jogging past, and she always has on these black jogging things with like this red hoodie. So he sees the red hoodie, creeps up slowly around the joint, and then he just straight runs her over. I'm like, what the fuck? Then he made sure to put it in reverse and run it back over again to finish the job. I'm like, God damn. Leonora's dead as shit, right? So he takes the van back, acts like he's still at work, then he heads on home. So when he gets back in the house, his son Jonah comes downstairs to make sure everything's good. So then he's like, all right, I'm good. I'm about to go back up to sleep and get through my final exams and tests and whatnot. So as he's walking through a different part of the kitchen to get a drink, all of a sudden Leonora pops up out the blue. I'm like, what the fuck? Turns out she didn't go down her normal route. She went down a different route tonight. So I'm thinking to myself, who the fuck did he run over? Turns out he ran over this random ass lady who just happened to be wearing a red hoodie and happens to be a mother of 3 kids. This nigga failed in his mission, ran over an innocent lady. Yeah, he's really up Shit's Creek now. So later on, they go to this spot, they see people doing their investigations and stuff like that. A bunch of people came to the scene, even Leonora showed up. And this is where we see the cop that's been narrating the story the entire time for us. So well, throughout this crime, Christian's been leaving Zena alone because he's like, look, he's got too much stiff shit on his plate. Lenora later on goes to the car wash, right? Now she was trying to use her card the first time, and the cashier guy kept saying there was money missing off the card. He's just like, I could have sworn I had a certain amount in here, da 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 da. This is a scene that happened early in the movie, but now it comes back again and it's about to make a lot of sense. So she's thinking to herself, I haven't been using my wash card like that. How come it keeps saying that there's less money than the money I put in there for? I don't know how she did this, but when she got to the house, she got some camera footage of car washes, right? Christian comes home to talk to her just in time to see it. And the footage is of him going to the car wash so he could wash off the white van. Meanwhile, she's thinking about it. She's trying to put two and two together. Was like, this motherfucker was trying to kill me. Now, before all that, there was this one scene where he had actually went to the burial ground. You know what I'm saying? Gave his prayers and whatnot. He was going to the police station to turn himself in. But once he heard the news report, thinking to himself, the person that probably did it is probably out the country. Then he got a text message from his son talking about he loved his birthday party or whatever like that. He said to himself, fuck that shit, I ain't turning myself in. And this is where we got to the point where she found out about the car wash. So now he's trying to apologize. He's like, I would never try to kill you, da 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 da. She's like, man, fuck out of here. So she ends up dipping out. So we thinking to ourselves, oh shit, she probably gonna go to the police now for real. Christian's up Shit's Creek, right? But then after a couple hours roll around, he ends up getting a text message later talking about meeting him at this restaurant at 9 o'clock. So he ends up meeting Leonora there. Lenora's like, look, I had time to think about it. The thing is, we got to find a way to live together because of the strength of our son. But she's like, the problem is, you tried to kill me. I know you'll try to do it again. So she said, there's only one logical thing to do in this situation. You're going to kill Zena. He's like, what the fuck? Number one, she caused all this. Number two, I'll be an accomplice to it because I know the plan that you're about to do. So that way, we in this together, motherfucker. So basically, the plan goes like this. He's supposed to go to her house to act like he's going to do stuff, but he's supposed to kill her to make it look like some type of home invasion type thing. Meanwhile, Lenora's going to be at this luxurious hotel, but they're going to make it seem like both of them are there. And so when she's about to order room service, she's going to make it seem like Christian's taking a shower or in a bathtub or something like that. So when room service comes through, she's going to act like she's going to the bathroom to get a tip. But when she gets in the bathroom, she plays a Christian voiceover that was already recorded on her phone. So it can seem like both of them are there. It's crazy. And then while Christian's at Zena's house, Leonora's supposed to send this text message to Zena that's supposed to make it look like it's coming from Christian. And Christian stops Zena before she reads it. But the thing is, they end up smashing. So basically, he don't go along with the plan. So they're in the bed next to each other, talking about they love each other, all this other shit after they finish doing the do. So she ends up going to the bathroom. Before she gets there, she realizes the door is open. Or the window was open, something like that. So she's looking in the mirror. All of a sudden, Leonora pops out of nowhere and stabs the shit out of her. Done deal, dead as shit. Christian ends up going to the bathroom, seeing Zena laying there, done deal, dead. Leonora standing over her top, looking menacing and shit. She's like, I knew you couldn't do it. I had to finish the job my damn self. So the next day, police came over there and all that. Now, it was supposed to look like it was a home invasion or a break-in or whatever like that. But 2 out of the 3 rooms were fucking spotless, like cleaned up, everything. So they was like, something's up. And something was really up because there was no body. So they go through a text message and they're thinking to themselves, they think they know who did it, but they don't have no evidence. And this is after the police visit Leonora and Christian. So the only thing that would make sense is if they could find the body. So then we get to this annual bonfire. Now the sticks and everything are set up in like the middle of the river. So while this bonfire is going on, the police think to themselves, yeah, we got to find this body. So we're going over towards the river or whatever like that. They're on the other side. So Leonora tells Christian to hurry up and get out there and set the bonfire. So I'm like, why is Leonora hurrying up to do this? Wait a minute. So Christian gets in a canoe with one of his work buddies and he's like canoeing out there to the bonfire. Meanwhile, the police are on the other side of the land coming down with canine dogs and shit. And then they get real close to the bonfire and his friend is like, what's that smell? It stinks. And I'm like, yo, they put Zena's body in the middle of the fucking bonfire. So one of the dogs get to the water, he starts barking and shit. So Christian's like, oh boy, I gotta hurt light this damn fire. And trust me, the body's hitting so well within the sticks, you can't see her body through the shit. So it's like, fuck. He ends up lighting the fire, the dog starts barking, and then they're going this other direction. But the cop is looking, he's thinking to himself like, huh. But he ain't got no evidence, so he don't know shit. So the cop's thinking to himself, even if that's the case, he knows what we know about her being in the bonfire. They thinking to themselves like, oh, they could still have residue of bones, right? So here's the thing, I guess later on that night, they collected that shit. Leonora and Christian end up putting the bones in a bag and dumped them shits at the bottom of the river. I'm like, what? Meanwhile, the cop is narrating this stuff to his daughter, you know what I'm saying, pretty much throughout the whole movie. Turns out they're actually setting up for her daughter to get married. So on her wedding day, her father's cop is telling her about this whole goddamn story. It's like, last image we see is the bones at the bottom of the river. I'm like, what in all of the fuck? Loving Adults on Netflix. Man, this shit was insane.